911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal, or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my sensor light came on, and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man, or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
Deal!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Okay.
You're listening to Sasquatch Experience, the podcast. The classic Bigfoot podcast has returned with Sean Forker and Henry May. The show starts now. And you're listening to the Sasquatch Experience. I'm Sean the Fort Chop Forker, joined with Henry May, my partner in crime.
Hey.
For the last decade and a half, Henry, we've been talking Bigfoot, with a little break in between here and there, but that's okay. We're back in the saddle. Vance Nesbitt over in the corner, pouting because he's been punished. Bad boy Vance, you told a really stupid joke before the show started, so I have to put you in the corner. Do you want to tell that joke to the audience? Or do you...
Yeah, well...
Okay. Go ahead.
A dog man, a mothman, and a Sasquatch walk into a Target. They ate all the looters. Yay! Okay, never mind.
Too soon. All right.
And I'm being punished for that.
It was a dumb joke. What am I supposed to do? That can't go unpunished.
It's off the cuff.
That's
Cryptid lives matter.
Oh,
that's how you wrapped it up.
What am I going to do with you? I don't know. Anyhow, tonight we got the Ohio Night Stalkers with us, Mike Feltner and Mike Miller. Mike Feltner, one of my oldest Bigfoot friends, cohorts hanging out at the old Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and just a lot of great times with these guys. Mike Miller, of course, we tore down the town of Ohiopio last year with Cliff Barrickman and Seth Breedlove. Took over a bar, ate some birthday cake, and we had a great time. Good times. And I missed these guys, so we had to get them back on to talk about Bigfoot, and because this is a Sasquatch show, what else would we talk about? I don't know. And what they've been up to lately. So, Henry, what's new with you? We'll get you kicked off the bat, then we'll talk to the mics.
Well, I just want to pass along that Russian hominologist Dmitry Bayanov passed away on June 1st, and he was a well-known individual in the world of Sasquatch. Yeah. He actually coined the term hominology and the term hominologist, and he's the one that named the Patterson-Gimlin film creature Patty.
Oh, wow.
Patty Bigfoot.
I didn't know that, Henry.
He wrote several interesting books and lived a long life. He was 88 years old, so...
Yeah, you can't... 88's a good...
There you go.
That's a good number, Henry. 88. There have been many that haven't even got close to that, in this field. And so we never like to lose anybody in the field of cryptozoology or in the field of Bigfoot. But, of course, our condolences go out to his family. And, we always lose the good ones, Henry. So just a little sad note to kick the show off on, but we won't be sad long. Going to remember him fondly and the contributions he made to the field. And if you have any information you'd like to find out, Lauren Coleman put a pretty nice obituary together. You can go to cryptozoonews.com and check it out. To not keep this somber, I never do good with the awkward stuff, guys. I'm sorry. Death makes me feel a little sad. But I'm not sad that I've got the mics with me. Feltner, Miller, guys, how have you been?
Good. Pretty good.
Pretty good and good. Okay, we'll take that. We'll accept that as an answer. Nobody wants to step on each other. It's okay. It's radio, and sometimes things get confused. So we'll leave pauses. It's okay. Don't be uncomfortable, guys. This is a safe space. We don't need a safe space here. You guys don't need a safe space. So, guys, Ohio, what's going on with Bigfoot?
Well,
go ahead, Mike.
Well, it's been a challenging year for everybody. And
absolutely.
one of the things that's impacted us is we do a lot of library lectures. We like to take our findings and audio and experiences and take them directly to the public. And I think we got a couple of library things in. The last one was in late February before the world got canceled. And so we haven't been able to do that, but we have been able to get out and scour some new areas. We're trying to give some of our old haunts a break, if you will. But that's kind of what we've been focusing on here lately.
You know, that's a really good point, Mike, giving your old areas kind of a respite, because I personally think that you can, I don't want to say abuse, but you can really, quote-unquote, beat the hell out of a research area over time. And do you think it's by constantly going back to that, sometimes you may create the opposite effect of what you want, but because you go there so often, it may disrupt them to the point where they quit making themselves known to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. And we've been trying to do some gifting here the last couple of years, and to let them know that we're not, that we're friendly, but they still may not care for us to be there. But yeah, we're just trying to kid glove them, and I don't know. And it's always exciting seeing new places too. So
absolutely.
We always do like a daytime recon, and then we go back at night because kind of want to make sure what we're getting into. Because some of the areas they shoot first, but then ask questions later. So
get to be there in the daylight, so someone sees you and they don't shoot you later on in the evening.
Yeah, well, we talk to people, and that works out good. Sometimes we see people out, and we'll actually tell them why we're there and talk to them, and sometimes they'll tell us stuff, and sometimes they just don't want to talk about it. We had one lady on a mower, and she lived this road. It dead-ended, and there was just nothing but woods behind her. She was just in a awesome spot to be. Would love to ask her if she's heard anything, seen anything, but from her mower, she'd give us the point and shook her head and that point and wave of the finger, as in, get the hell out of here, boys. So we turned around and we left.
She's the one that would shoot you,
Yeah.
She gives you the finger first. The next time it's the trigger.
Wasn't the middle finger. She just gave us the point, like, turn around and go, boys. Yeah.
Now, Feltner, you guys do these library talks, and they're an important part of your research because they kind of help you get information and kind of help you fund some of your research efforts. Has the COVID stuff put a dampener on that? Have you really been affected by the lockdowns we've all experienced?
Well, we were scheduled for a conference, the Southeast Texas conference, and then, of course, that got canceled, and then we was going to go to Russ's conference, the International Bigfoot Conference. So, yeah, it has, but we've been going back to, square one, which is going out researching. And with the world, like Mike said, kind of upside down, that has been a piece of our mind, and it's been great. It's just we go out, and it's like nothing, is going on to us on that part, and it's been great. And we actually had activity Saturday night at this new location that we just we just stumbled upon on, and it was fantastic. We actually had a rock thrown at us and had some vocals, and Mike's son actually got to hear a couple wood knocks, which was pretty exciting. So, but as far as that, yeah, I love doing library lectures. I actually like them better than conferences, just because of the the no drama crap. And so yeah, but we got one scheduled hopefully in the fall, and hopefully that pans out and we get to go do that.
The library conferences, the library talks, they're kind of academic in a way. They have a different sense than a conference. I think a conference, you got more of kind of, maybe you guys feel this way, you have to do a little bit more entertainment presence than you do as an educational, while trying to grasp with both. I think at a conference there's almost an expectation that you have to kind of, quote-unquote, put on a show. Do you feel that way with the libraries?
But you know what? We are who we are, and we just we do what you see at the library is pretty much what you're going to get at a conference. We may add a couple things. We may add some new audio and maybe, like Bob Gimlin's done a soundbite for us, an audio-visual soundbite, actually, and no one's seen it yet because we haven't been able to incorporate it. But No, we're the same animal at both. So, and but the interaction's great. The library, the people are there, just like at a conference. They're there for Bigfoot, and they want to talk. They usually want to talk to you. They'll come up, and we'll hear stories. We hear some great stories, and it's pretty wonderful, really. It's either one. We love them both.
Well, I had the fortunate privilege to see you guys at the presentation did at the Mothman Festival a few years back. And you guys...
Yeah, that...
And I'm not saying it because you're my friends. You guys were a big hit. I think you guys were really engaging and entertaining, and you can tell you really cared about what you do. And I think that's really important when you're trying to reach the audience of today. And you guys know the audience of Bigfoot today is a lot different than it was. And Feltner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not so academic. You have to really make it attractive to many different types of people. And I think you guys hit the nail on the head in that presentation. And that kind of sets you up to what to expect at other conferences moving forward from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have gained so much from that Mothman Festival. Like we're way better. We did a event with David Weckman last year up in Coshocton, and we wasn't even part of the show. We was just there selling our stuff, and they had some major problems. And he asked us to come up, and we didn't even have our audio stuff showing it on a screen, and we just knocked it out of the park. So because we know, like you've heard our story,
Mm-hmm.
that is our main goal. And our main thing is our story that happened to me, Mike, and my son. And we both knew when that happened that it had to be told.
Well, yeah, and we'll get to that in a moment. I want to give the floor to Henry or Vance if they have anything before I get the Monopoly button.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do have a question that maybe I can throw out early, and then whether the three of you, meaning, Henry, Mike, and Mike, want to ponder on it or answer off the top of your head. I asked this question to Sean a few weeks back, and the question is, let me rewind a little bit. I have looked into photography equipment. Now, for under $100, you can buy a Super 8 or 8mm camera and film for under $100. Now, has anybody since DeHinden and Green done anything on horseback in any research area on a quadruped animal that may be mistaken as a large buck walking through the woods and maybe have some better results instead of bringing in Jeeps or whatever vehicles to an area and setting up camp, just to take a horseback and go? Has anybody that you're aware of done that within, let's say, the last 15, 20 years?
No, I mean, and a good precursor is the Patterson-Gimlin footage. They were on horseback. That's why Patty was around and didn't spook and run, because she didn't smell them. She smelled the horses. And I think if you use animals to go back into an area, that's a wonderful idea. We're kind of weekend warriors and don't have access to horses, but we do what we can, and we try to. And since we're out at night, and we do have one movie camera that has it does have night vision on it. It's only good up to about 20 feet, so we're kind of angled toward the audio, kind of evidence.
Right.
And then if we find structures and stuff or footprints, we take pictures and stuff. But
Right.
No, horseback. You've got the time and the means, and can do that. Yeah, I think a horse is less threatening.
Well, the only reason why I brought up, even Super 8 or 8mm is the fact that you can pretty much prove that this is not photoshopped. If you go to the original developed film, you follow the protocol, you have a number of people that will, see the process through as long as the process is done correctly. It's authentic. In case you do capture something on film, that would take away a lot of the conspiracy right off the top that, this is photoshopped, because that's what we seem to be dealing with now. Is the more technology we have, yes, it's fantastic, but it can be manipulated so easily, and clearly we see that all over YouTube, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, and how much of it is absolute BS. We know it's BS. So maybe this would be a way to go back to the original, use what worked. Go back to horseback. Go back to just a film camera. It doesn't give off any kind of frequency that may tip off something. The horse's scent is by more than, the men in aftershave that whoever might be. And just go back to what originally seemed to work.
Well, yeah, ask Mike Feltner about this, but Don Keating captured one on film by accident. He did not shut the camera off all the way and threw it over his shoulder, and it was facing to the back of him, and picked up the one he picked up in Coshocton. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a realistic too, because we go out at night a lot, and to take first of all, we're not professional trained, kind of like Bob is with horses. You got to know where you go, and I believe most of these creatures are nocturnal. And you go miles off horseback, and you spook a horse, and just say it takes off, then you're stranded there. Then what do you do? So it sounds great if you had proper people that can do that. And, with Patty, that was just luck. That was just pure luck.
Mm-hmm.
Bob will tell you that. That's just pure luck. So I just think that will never happen again.
Well, please don't take it that I'm looking to focus just in Ohio. I'm talking about researchers all over the world that may try this. So my question was, are you aware of anybody else that is trying this method within the last 15, 20 years?
Not that we've heard
of. Ron Moorhead went up, and they was on donkeys and stuff, and mules to get to his spot where he picked the Sierra Sounds. But anybody that done that, I have no clue. Now, Henry may know somebody, but I don't know nobody. I don't know nobody has the resources of horses.
The only one,
hey, you guys.
The only one I've heard of is Ron Moorhead. Actually, he was just going on horseback up to the camp where they got the Sierra Sounds in the first place. But I haven't heard of anybody trying to use horseback.
Well,
I haven't either.
Vance, there's your answer. I think.
Yeah, well,
I think I kind of answered it similarly. I don't know if anybody's doing it, but I think Feltner and Mike and Miller both said it. And Henry and Vance, you both know this. Horseback riding isn't a novice activity, especially if you're going to do it for Bigfoot.
No.
Like, you need to have some experience. You're going to have a lot of Christopher Reeves moving around out there after this, because they're going to get spooked, and you're going to get thrown, and it's going to be a bad day.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to, you're putting yourself and a horse in danger, because look, there's been stories of Bigfoot attacking horses. I mean, there's also stories of them braiding their manes, but there's also been, like any other livestock, killed by suspected Bigfoot. So, and guys, that's funny, because I'm not a doom and gloom, Bigfoot's a monster and will rip your head off kind of person, but I think you need to take the approach as any kind of wild being or wild creature, that you just give it its space. You don't try to provoke it.
Yes.
Because those things could happen. How many times have you guys been asked at your lectures, has Bigfoot ever killed anybody?
A few times.
All the time.
Right? And my answer to that is, who the hell knows? Because they'd be dead. Nobody would be able to come back and tell us if they were killed by a Bigfoot, right? So I like to err on the side of caution. I choose life, and I don't want to do anything that's going to put me at risk of being injured or abused by Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and you got to look at cats too.
What, the cats?
Like bobcats or mountain lion. If they jumped on the back of a horse, if they get horseback in their mouth, the horses are done. So then you're where how you going to get out? That's just like him. Like Sean said, that's, you got to know what you're doing. Just like with Roger. Roger got thrown from his horse when that horse ran around, and they both seen Patty. So. Nah.
Yeah, horses might be more of a daytime thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably the image in which I painted in my head when I came up with that question is, yeah, it would be a daytime thing, and you set your camp up at night, and, the horse would be more comfortable and clearly a little bit more wary about its surroundings in case there was something. And of course, you have to have somebody that's familiar with horses and the handling. I'm not speaking that, tomorrow Mike and Mike go hop on a horse, and no, this would be, strictly something that somebody that has familiarity with that type of language to handle an environment like that. And who knows? And of course, yes, you take the risk of a daytime intrusion. I understand the opinion is you believe that, Squatch is, probably more nocturnal, but it doesn't matter day or night. If somebody walks into your house, you're awake. You know what's going on. And do you really want to stir them up and anger them? And I get all those points. I was just really curious if this was a focal point in Sasquatchery research to try it the way it was originally done to capture something by horseback.
I have a theory
because
on how this question stemmed.
Okay.
I know in 2005 that at the Orange Trail in Salt Fork State Park, the horses smelled like the nastiest odor. And at one of Don's meetings, they said that the horses would not go down the Orange Trail.
Oh, really?
And that's the back of Hozak's.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. The back of Hozak's Cave,
Yep.
that area?
Yep.
Yeah.
During the day, yep, they would not go back.
Oh, I didn't
They
know that.
felt
That's interesting.
threatened. Yep. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's
I just want to
okay.
throw that out there.
That's a great point.
Just hit me.
Adds a little bit Vance's question there. See, Vance, this question came from Vance when he woke up in the middle of the night one night when he had this dream about me riding horseback.
With long, flowing locks of hair, naked. I don't know where that came from.
He was watching a mountain movie. I think it started with Brokeback, and it's okay, Vance. These things happen. It's perfectly natural, normal. We're going to get slammed by critics, but this is about having fun, and I think we have to remember that. This is a, Mike, you said weekend warriors, and I think in this field sometimes it has a negative connotation, and I don't consider you guys weekend warriors because you put the hours in. You put the time in, and rather you do that on the weekend. I think you guys are a lot different than what others I would consider weekend warriors for other people. So I just wanted to give you that little feedback. I think you guys do some pretty damn good work. You put the hours. I know because Feltner tells me, man. I get this last Saturday. What time did you message me last Saturday, Mike? Saturday or Sunday morning? Like, dude, we had some activity.
Oh yeah, we got in. Yeah, it was like 7:30 in the morning when we went to bed, or I went to bed. It was like about 8 o'clock. So.
I get the news quick. I'm always excited, and I appreciate you give me that information because it's nice to know people are still out here, doing this. It's almost like an addiction, isn't it? You can't get enough.
Yeah, well, we're not going to apologize for when we get to go because we both work, and you got to be able to pay your house payment and everything else, and that comes first.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we always jokingly say work gets in the way, but we also take time off and do this too. So
we're not independently wealthy.
And we enjoy it.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoy Mike's company. We're best friends. Mike lives. I can see Mike's house from here. I can't, but you know what I mean.
Put your pants on.
So we
Mike.
enjoy our time together. So.
I can see Alaska from my house, so there's an old reference.
Now, so
and we do have a little bit of a.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I was just, we were on horses. We did have one horse thing last year, and I'm just going to tie it in because on the new season of These Woods Are Haunted, they actually did a story on the one property. I'm not going to say their names. I'm not sure if they said their real name on the show or not. But they're the ones that had the horse attack, and they sold the property and all that. Jesus was the husband, and Susan was the mom that lived there. But we actually, some of that audio they played from that we recorded that from that property. Because they actually came to one of our library lectures and told us their story, and we went to the property. But we went there again last year, and their horses kind of roamed free. And the one luckily I went to the store and this box of granola bars had fell out, oats and honey. And then Mike had to drive my Jeep and I had to lead the horse away from where we had to drive back. I had to lead him down the trail with oats and honey bars so we could get back in there. And then this horse is very smart. As we left, he went and stood right by that gate. Like, you're not getting out unless I get more granola bars. So we did have a horse thing, you know. The guy asked had the horse thing, so I figured I'd share that.
Now, you guys talked about, your experience. And for folks who may be new to you, why don't you share that story with us?
What happened, 2014, you mean?
Yeah, share that story with the listeners.
Well, Mike and I have to go back and forth here, but, we went, it was near Lynx, Ohio, but area we did daytime recon, and Mike did some howls and stuff to check the echo and all that. It was unbelievable, but we had to wait out the rain for several hours in town in West Union, and we almost thought we were going to have to give up. And finally, the weatherman was actually right for once, and it quit. And about 9:30, we started driving out there, and we had a good hour, to drive out there from where we were a little bit more. But this road is about 5 miles long. It dead ends into a graveyard, and the first place we stopped at. Now, on that show, these woods are haunted and tearing the woods. They show us doing that first spot during the daytime. It wasn't. It was 10:30 at least at night, and we recorded what we believe is a young one. And that's two of the recordings I sent you. One is the original recording where you hear Mike's son Jordan say that was a scream, and then the Ellis edit where he kind of magnifies it and cleans it up and kind of loops it. But that was the start of the night, and we pretty much from there drove back into. Go ahead.
Let's play that audio clip.
Into the graveyard, and it was the one they showed in the show was probably spookier than the one we were in. But I tell you this, the woods where we were at was so grown in and so right up against the road. It's like something could come up and pull you into the woods, and you'd be gone, and no one would even see it. And I actually felt safest in the graveyard because of you got a lot of the trees cut away. There's just a couple in the middle of the graveyard. And I thought, hey, at least I got some space here, and if something comes for me, I can see it coming and have a heart attack ahead of time. But, Mike can tell you what happened. We heard some weird whistling and stuff. And
yeah, so we're sitting there. My son's sleeping in my SUV. So we're in my SUV, and this is, like Mike says, Lynx, Adams County, Ohio, which is an unbelievable area. So we did calls earlier in the day, and then when we got there, and then we heard this strange whistling noise, and then they went off. We heard this massive vocalization, and then you hear coyotes. And on our audio clips, you can hear, you hear foul language, because I've never experienced nothing like this. And I've been a researcher since 1999, and my son gets up out of the SUV and come running towards us, and we're talking and we're recording this stuff. And then I'll hand it back to Mike, but you can hear whoops, and then at one point you can hear coyotes. Actually, it sounds like, because I've hunted with my uncle and I've heard coyotes, but they sound like they're being strangled. I've never heard nothing like that. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, the audio clip for that is titled Graveyard, but you hear the coyote, and David Ellis is the one who analyzed our stuff, by the way. He was able to kind of minimize the coyote, but you still hear him. But at the end of that recording, you hear this thing whooping like he's mimicking the coyotes. I mean, we were there probably 45, 50 minutes and almost called it a night because nothing was happening. Then boom, it's like all hell broke loose, and then it just stopped like it never started. And we probably waited another half hour, because like the credits have ran at that location, which you're thinking, well, maybe there's going to be one more thing, but we packed up and went to this little spot we call the bridge and set up. And it was really hard recording there because there's a little creek, and because of all the rain, it was like a freaking river. But the audio clip for that one is the Ellis edit, and I think it'll say baboon on it. And the reason it says that is when he ran that recording through the spectrograph, that recording actually pegged higher than a baboon on the spectrograph, whatever was screaming, and that's in Adams County, Ohio. But I had walked up the road to get away from the creek. Nothing was going on. I walked back toward the vehicle. I set the recorder on top of the vehicle. You can actually hear the ping from setting it down, and they went off. And this thing, it was a lot closer, which that wasn't dawning on us yet. And we'll get to that later in the story. But, this thing went off. The coyotes go off behind it, but they're a lot higher pitched. You can tell the difference. And then it, just like at the other spot, nothing. It just stopped. And we waited. And then, we proceed on down the road, and we stopped at a place we kind of call it the turnaround, because it's the only spot on that old gravel logging road, whatever it is, where you could turn around if you needed to. We've come to find out there's a separate graveyard there, but anyway. But Mike gets out and goes over to the wood line because he's seen something.
Yeah, so when we get up there, there's a ridge on the right of us, and we're thinking we're far away from everything. So my son is wanting me to scream and see how far the echo is and see if anything replies. And hey, we're away from this. So I cross the road and I hear this loud, break sound, like a branch just snapped. So I looked up on the right, and that's when I had my Class A. That's when I saw, and I'm getting goosebumps sitting here in my living room with my cats. I see this broad shoulder, this cone-shaped head, and this just one eye staring, looking around this tree. I see this thing, and this thing mimics me. How I'm talking now, like my voice, but it was like how I screamed earlier in the night. It sounded like it mimicked my voice and just peltered out to me. It's pitch black because we don't do lights unless it's red lights or blue light or something. But at that time, we have no lights. And I'm going backwards back to my son and my friend and my Kia SUV because I want out of there. It scared me to death. But I see this thing standing there, and I'll never forget it. But the story don't end. Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, they kind of showed Mike having an anxiety attack, which, everybody's adrenaline was through the freaking roof. I can tell you that. But, he wasn't panicked or he didn't need to breathe into a bag or anything like that. But, and like he said, I heard the same thing he did. It mimicked his howl. It sounded like him, but only about maybe 700-800 pounds. And, we get in the vehicle and we start heading out of there. And we're probably within maybe a half a mile or so from being to a kind of a regular road in a way. And we decided to stop one more time. And we get out, and Jordan gets out. And, Jordan's got a good howl like his dad. He's about 6'2", and Jordan cuts loose. And the air's not even totally out of Jordan's lungs all the way. And we get a reply. Now, we learned a lesson that night. His batteries went dead, so did mine. So now we got a toolbox. And I can show you, it's in my Jeep. You open the top of it, it's nothing but batteries. But anyway, so we didn't get nothing else recorded from that point. But as Mike said earlier, the story's not over. But we get a reply pretty much like that one we got at the bridge, which you do have a recording of. But this time, there's one on one side of us, and then there's one on the other side of the road, and they were a lot closer, and that really alarmed me. It's like the light bulb finally went off in my brain and said, hey, wait a minute, idiot. we're surrounded and they're a lot closer. Are they going to let us leave? I actually felt like we were being funneled, into a trap, whatever. And all that's going on, and I hear this noise, and to me it sounds like air is escaping out of a tire. So I thought maybe Mike had driven over something. And I go over by his vehicle. It's not coming out of any of those tires. It's coming out of the woods. So, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed there, so I decided to go over into the wood line because I'm wondering what in the world is making this noise, because it's out of place. Well, I'm standing there in the dark, and it's pitch black. Like Mike said, we don't have any lights on at this point. And I'm listening at this thing, and then it dawns on me, it's not air escaping out of anything. There is something standing in there that I can't see, but it's less than, I'm going to say 20 yards away from me. It's in there. It's drawing air into its lungs, like deeply, like King Kong or something. And that's what I'm hearing. And the goosebumps are across my arm right now, because I'll never forget this moment. And this thing emits a very low, very guttural. That's the only time I've ever heard this version of scream, howl, whatever you want to call it. Very low, very guttural, the kind where it bounces off of your chest like you're at a concert, and it reverberates off of you. And I not only heard it, I felt it. And to me, this was like a final warning. This was Big Daddy telling us to get the hell out of there. And I literally turned around. I walked back out of the woods and turned around and yelled in a very high-pitched voice, "We're getting the F out of here now." And I actually, they showed me firing a warning shot, which did not happen. I did draw my revolver, and I had it at my side because I don't know if this thing's coming out after me or not. And we get in the vehicle, and Mike just about drove off the incline there.
Yeah, I did the Bo Duke, Dukes of Hazzard. I just took off, and I took the wheel to the left, and I would have rolled down the hill, and I don't think we would have survived that, but our adrenaline was so to the roof. I finally got back on the road, and we just floored it. And we go all the way down the hillside, and here comes a deer, just pops out, and the deer is just looking straight into the woods. It's not looking at us. Tell them what you said, Mike.
Yeah, we stop. We basically stop again to kind of recuperate, make sure George's in the car, make sure we're all okay, and try to calm down a minute. Because, we're like, we probably do have a little anxiety going there and adrenaline. And the deer comes out and it's right there. The bright light's on, the engine's running. It never looks at us one time. It's looking at the direction we just came from. And it snorts, it paws the ground, it freaking backs up a little bit, and it swings, and it goes the other way. So that damn thing knew those things were there too, and it got out of there, and we left. And we probably got like 5 miles up the road. Mike actually wanted to turn around and go back. I was afraid they'd push a tree down the car. I'm like, hey, we made it out of there. Let's go home. And but that is one night. We've never had a night like that since. We've had stuff happen back in those areas, in prior years. But that night was like Game 7 of the World Series and the Super Bowl in one night. We were just lucky they were there. And we don't think anyone had ever intruded, bothered them, howled, whatever. And they were, we had their complete attention. And it's something we'll never forget.
Never forget.
Can I ask
that
a
was
question?
October 11th? Yes.
Question is, ever since that moment or that experience, what have you done to change your approach from that experience? We're not doing this, but we will do this. We're not bringing this, but we will bring this, or whatever. How did that change your persona of how you go about doing this from there on out?
That hasn't really changed much of anything. The only thing we've done is we try to incorporate when we go down in those areas is the food and gifts. To try to say, hey, we're friends. But I think that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, we pretty much, we do a few wrinkles, but we got some call blasting stuff now, stuff we've recorded, and like giving monkeys and stuff. We'll blast that, but pretty much the same,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll try to hold your ground, but I hate when people said, well, how, why did you do this? Or why did you, like, until you experience what we have, like you can hear our audio, but to experience that with your own ears, I mean, these things ran us out of there and you couldn't hold your ground. And we try not to talk more. If we do pick some audio, we're trying like, shh, but sometimes that's even hard, but we try to do that. That's about the only few things. But, I've been doing this since 99, but like Mike said, it just happened and it changed our life. And that's how the library and conferences rolled. I called that town and got our first library booked, and we had 78 people, and off to the races we went.
Now, it's an incredible.
I have a question. Yeah, it is. I have a question. What was your feeling about how your story was treated by Destination America? I know you guys, of course, appeared on the episode Hunted. Was it Hunted by Bigfoot or
no?
Something like that.
It was
Terror in the Woods.
Yeah,
which is now called These Woods Are Haunted.
Yeah, they sold it to Travel Channel. We knew they would probably take some liberty with it, but and then they wanted to use our audio, but we reached a deal to where we didn't sign the rights away from it or anything. We got to keep it. They just wanted to use it, so we felt comfortable with that. Because we've heard of other people doing things where whatever they were going to use, they were going to keep, and we wouldn't have done that. But we were more of afraid that they would probably make fun of us. We didn't know if it was going to be a serious show or not. They added stuff like, the gun going, being shot and the anxiety and all that. But of course, they're going to do that for TV. And when they interviewed us separately for about 3-4 hours each, almost like a police, light bulb on you. And where were you? And they did it for effect and all that. But we're actually pretty happy because it had a serious tone. They didn't make fun of us, and it was pretty accurate. They added some couple things that didn't happen, but for the most part, we felt they did a really good job.
Yeah, Mike actually came over, like I said, he lives down the road on our debut night, and I was petrified, like they're going to throw in like 5 different Bigfoots or like that didn't happen. But overall, I think it's great, and I think that show does not get the accolades that it deserves because those are real life people telling their stories, not a bunch of people running around in the woods. Don't want to mention shows, but those shows are pretty good. If it's Ghost or something else, they do kind of interrogate you. So we're lucky because most of them are like 30 minutes episode. We got a full hour, and we're proud of it. Yeah, they did add stuff, but we're proud of it.
As they're prone to do with television, they have to find some way to make it a little, not that your story is not, intense as it is, but they always have to find some way to add the drama. You know what I mean? Up it up, add creepy music, turn Miller into Rambo. I get it.
Hey, we got to go to Philadelphia. We got to try cheesesteaks in Philadelphia, to go to that, to be interviewed. So, and, the new Metallica just came out at the time. We were jamming that all the way there and back. And, it was a hell of a good time,
And they paid us. So it's a win-win.
So what's next for you guys? What are you up to? What are you going to be doing? What's your big plans for the rest of this blasted 2020 and into 2021?
Well, we're inviting you down this summer because we want Fork Chop here with us to go squatch.
We're coming because I need the break, and I need to see these areas because he's literally, folks, he's been baiting me with this for the last year and a half over this. And
Shawnee is 63,000 acres. It's a lot of areas, buddy.
That's a lot of land, and we're going to get out there. And I'm anxious and excited because, like I said, you guys care, and that's what makes the difference to someone like me. Having had my own experience with whatever, and 2012 kind of changed my outlook on things. I completely understand when you talk about still getting the goosebumps, Mike, and the feelings you have from that night of your own. I still get them. And it's almost like a little, I don't want to compare it to PTSD, but it's, you still get the terror and the tremors from it. It still haunts you. And being able to get back out into the woods and go to those places kind of starts easing the symptoms of that over time. I don't know if you ever get over it, but I don't know, man. It put a dampener on me for a while, and I'm just happy to start getting out and being a part of all this deeper and getting to understand this creature maybe a little better.
Well, getting out in nature and seeing the stuff God created is always wonderful, and time with friends, and we're kind of hoping the world gets back to normal. We can start seeing people at libraries, but that may be next year. I know Seth has got a project I think he wants us to be part of next year. We might even do kind of our own. We've talked about kind of filming our own thing, and but we're going to keep researching. We're going to keep putting our boots on the ground, as David Wickham would say. And we're going to keep going out there and doing what we can and finding what we can and enjoying it, no matter what.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what you guys do. You got a lot of audio already. You guys are out there getting boots on the ground, and you're both entertaining dudes too, by the way. You guys keep me in stitches. We always have a good time when we're together. And you got that's one thing I love in this. I guess it's chauvinistic to say fraternity we belong to, huh, Henry? This fraternity of Bigfootery, because it's a non-gender bias, but this fraternity we belong to is that the friendships, at least for me, are something I cherish and hold dear, and I'm thankful I've been out with you guys, and I'm going to get out there with you guys to start, tackling this mystery. Because, guys, do you think we're going to solve it in our lifetime?
Probably not.
No,
not
my life.
I do want to add this, and I'm not going to say names. We've had people that did some stuff to us and made things difficult and put down, some of the stuff we've done. But David Ellis, thanks to Julie Wrench, has analyzed several of our recordings, and he concluded that we have recorded no known animal in North America, period. And that one recording, like I said earlier, pegged higher than a baboon on a spectrograph. And that's, to me, that's exciting. That's hard evidence. I mean, so we not only, and Mike will tell you this, we not only have an incredible story, but we have evidence to back that up. So it's not just a crazy story, but and we're excited about that. And hopefully we'll have luck with that in the future.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah,
I'm certain. I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on you. I'm certain that probably most of the listeners know David Ellis, but that name floats to the top as superior in audio analyzing. I mean, he has knocked it out of the park so many times and has proof to back it up. And he's got the entire library. And I know that even the most renowned researchers will refer to him. And he will, put it all through the spectrograph and analyze it and come back and give you a positive result of, you know what, you got a coyote on here. Okay, at least you weeded that out. But so when he says there is something here that is not a known animal in North America, well, you can take it to the bank. Seriously, the guy's amazing at what he does.
Well, like Mike said, there was people that was like wanting to say, hey, this, and I've been doing this for a long time. And Don Keating is my mentor. He taught me a lot, but I knew hey, I came a few years ago, we was depressed coming back from a state. And I'm like, wait a minute. I almost left the field because of stuff that happened. But Julie Wrench, she saved me from not, I would never leave Mike as a friendship, but I was like, man, this is just people downing us. And then when she called me, I was at an event in Dayton, Ohio, and I left this event, and I was so excited, and she brought me back to myself, and I'm like, she's like, oh man, David said this and this and this and this, and I was like, oh my God. So the people that said, what we recorded was all coyotes, that's BS. We got other stuff, and it's exciting.
Oh, hell yeah, we do. Oh, yeah.
Mike and Mike, the Ohio Night Stalkers. Guys, it's been fun. It's been short, but we've got more episodes down the line. Next episode, guys, we're going to be talking with Doug Waller. And I don't know why. Apparently, Ohio popped up on my radar again. You know, maybe it was the joke I made about Pennsylvania being more active than Ohio on an interview I did the other week. I don't know. Maybe tongue-in-cheek there. But, Henry, any final thoughts for tonight's program?
Well, just keep up the good work, guys. And I know that you guys are on the right track. And the audio you guys have is absolutely amazing. The stuff that I've heard from y'all, wow. Yeah. I just sit back and just listen to that. And I'm just, my jaw just drops. I just sit there and listen to that. And I'm like, how they're not feeling their how people don't feel their pants after hearing that.
And the last time I saw Henry's jaw drop like that, it's when he spilled the ramen noodles on his crotch. So that's saying a lot there for Henry May. You know, that's a testimonial. You got to put that on the back of your next CD jackets.
Is that quarantine ramen noodles?
Quarantine. I don't know. Guys, this has been a great show. Thanks for joining us. We got a lot of laughs. We got a lot of, we've been down the road quite a bit here. Well, guys, this has been great. We've been down the road and back and shared some good stories and talked about this great audio that you guys collected, and we're just happy to have you on the show with us. And I said we'll be back again here because you guys are out there all the time. And I know you're going to be bringing us back some goodness. Again, when's your next event?
We're kind of in limbo right now with what's going on, so we don't know.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I would like to do a shout-out to somebody on Twitter that's a good friend of mine named Starshine, and she's a diehard listener to all the Bigfoot shows, and she sent this person a T-shirt, so just shout out to that real quick.
Well, there you go. Nice. Hey, Starshine. Thanks.
Yeah, and Jeff Byers and Cody Pauly and Noah Miller and Jordan Feltner. And
yeah, sometimes it's nice that you know you guys get all the kudos, but you guys do have a little bit of a team there yourselves, don't you?
Yeah, Devin McCoy.
Yeah, trust is a big factor. You know, I was part of the first teams that was actually Trump and Salt Fork before it got blew up to be Hollywood, California. So, yeah, the trust is a big thing with me. So we have a team that we kind of trust, and sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not, and we understand that. But, yeah, shout out to all of them. But so that's all I got on my front. I love everybody.
Well, same, my friend. We're glad to have you on tonight. Henry? Vance, any final thoughts from you, Vance? I got Henry's final thoughts, but I need him one more time before we leave.
Well, yeah, my final thought is if both of you guys wake up tomorrow morning with horses in your front yard, don't look at me. I had nothing to do with it.
Better in your yard
No,
than in your bed.
I do appreciate listening to the story again, guys. It is very hair-raising, but thanks for taking the time and
thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure. Seriously, thanks for coming on. Henry, I need those words, my friend, those words that have empowered us for over a decade.
Y'all be good or be good at it.
And there you have it, folks. You were listening Sasquatch Experience, Sean Forker, Henry May, Vance Nesbitt, Mike Feltner, Mike Miller. We'll catch you next time. Keep on squatching.
Hey, don't go anywhere. With everything going on in our country and in the world right now, we are deeply saddened over the anger and divide. One thing that's brought joy is the wonderful people and events in the crypto community. A little family we are. One thing that we say all the time is, we just wish everyone we know and love could just get along and learn to accept our differences and unite. Coexist. The Art of Erie Eric has developed a Coexist print. It's 11 by 14. Perfect for all the crypto fans in this world. Jersey Devil, Thunderbird, Mothman, and of course Sasquatch all make up this wonderful print. You can hang it in your house and show support for Coexist. please visit The Art of Erie Eric on Facebook to pre-order for only $30. Shipping and handling is separate. But for $30, you get to display the Coexist cryptid artwork. Just go to Facebook, The Art of Erie Eric. That's EERIE, Eric, ERIC.